The Minmatar Republic's Panther battleship is one of the vessels that I've actually been really looking forward to flying for a long time. When I first joined EVE Online, it was one of those aspirational ships that I looked at and thought to myself, one day I will fly this absolute behemoth. And it is one heck of a powerful ship. The Black Ops battleships are sneaky, you can put a standard cloak on them, not a covert ops, and move around surprisingly nimbly on grid, fully cloaked up, ready to drop onto someone and ruin their day. You can create your Black Ops bridges. There's just so much crazy PvP awesomeness you can do with this ship. So finally getting my hands on one, of course, my first thoughts were, can I ram this into a C3 wormhole to go J-Space ratting? This might just be the craziest video I have ever made. I know it's going to make some people's head explode, so let's find out together, shall we? Ahoy there folks, I'm Captain Benzie and welcome back to another video for EVE Online. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at one of my absolute favourite battleships in the game, close behind the Varga, the Minmatar Republic's Panther. Oh yes, a Black Ops battleship, fearsome firepower, surprisingly good cloaky, sneaky sort of technology going on behind the scenes as well. It is a Thucker tribe ship, and as if you know anything about me, you know that the Thucker tribe are some of my favourite, well, just favourite ships in the game. I love the look of them, I love the way they fly, I love the story, everything about them. So this was a ship I've been looking forward to flying for a long time. It's very much a PvP related ship, and I know I'm going to get so much hatred in the comment section of this one. So yeah, let's acknowledge it straight up and down. This is a PvP ship. When I did a video on the Mekubal and the Kizriel, people got really upset that, oh, how dare I take a PvP ship out into PvE? Well, those people are genuinely going to have an absolute hernia right now because, yeah, that's what we're doing with the Panther. If you enjoy this video or you just want to support me doing crazy stuff like this, I almost said a naughty word there, kids. If you want to support me doing crazy stuff like this, hit like, drop a comment down below. Both help promote my channel on YouTube. If you do want to go the extra mile to support me financially, check out my Patreon page, my Redbubble merchandise store, and my PayPal tip jar. And finally, if you are fairly new to EVE Online, or just if you haven't used a referral link before, come use my referral link in the description down below. One click of that, log into your account, you get 1,000,000 free skill points, I get a minor kickback as well. Everyone's a winner, right? All of that said and done then, let's jump right into talking about the Minmatar Republic's Black Ops battleship, the Panther, forcibly rammed into PvE situations. The Panther is the Minmatar Republic's Black Ops battleship, and absolutely this is clearly designed for PvP. When you look through its role bonuses for starters, it can fit covert sinusoidal field generators and covert jump portal generators. It has a 0 targeting delay after cloaking device deactivation, and the cloak reactivation delay is reduced to a minuscule 5 seconds. It then has a 75% reduction to effective distance traveled for jump fatigue, a 50% reduction in sinusoidal field generator duration, a 650% bonus to ship maximum velocity when using cloaking devices, which means it is really fast when it is using a cloaking device. It can't use a covert ops cloak, but it can use a standard cloak, and it be speedy. Then it's got the usual battleship roll bonuses of 100% shield extend to hit point bonus, 50% to armor plate hit points, and 5% to reinforced bulkhead hit points. And this is actually kind of what makes this ship work. The roles there that I've talked about previously in battleship videos as being nothing particularly special, yeah, they're actually what make this Panther viable in PvE. But if we look at its standard skill bonuses, Minmatar Battleship and Black Ops, what we get is a 7.5% bonus to large projectile turret tracking, a 7.5% bonus to large projectile turret fall-off, so for each level of Black Ops you're going to be getting that up to a total of 37.5% of each of those at full training, and Minmatar Battleship, 5% bonus to large projectile turret rate of fire, 25% at full training, and a 10% bonus to large projectile turret damage, 50% at full training. Now, for absolute open and honesty, I'm running Minmatar Battleship 5, Black Ops 4. So I'm currently sitting on 30% tracking, 30% fall off, 25% rate of fire, and 50% damage. This gives me fearsome firepower from the rate of fire and damage bonuses from Minmatar Battleship, decent tracking from Black Ops, and pretty good fall off as well, which really helps with autocannons. Autocannons really favor fall off bonuses because they allow you to actually hit at surprisingly good ranges and work really well with the tracking. Not so much artillery, that's more of an optimal range thing, but it does help, I guess. Now, my concern when I was looking at the Panther and thinking to myself, I wonder if I can get this to work in PvE, was there are no tanking bonuses, and Black Ops battleships are not particularly tanky at all. They are actually fairly low on the tanking end of things, and so I'm sitting there thinking there are no the ship has no inherent tank, and none of the bonuses help it at all. And most of the roll bonuses do nothing for me. Then I started to fit it. So let's take a look at the fit, shall we? So if I simulate this one, this is, I still can't believe this actually works, which is the craziest thing. So I sat there and I started to play around with this, with the Panther, and I fitted the guns. I then started to fit an active shield tank, and I was incredibly cap unstable in seconds. I just played around with a load of stuff, putting in different capacitor rigs, putting in loads of large capacitor batteries, that kind of thing, and just nothing could bring it even close to cap stability. And I'm thinking an active shield tank is just not going to work. Armor tank, same thing, same problems. Even when I fully loaded all 6 of the low slots with armor tanking stuff, I barely had any resistances thanks to the very low resistances innately on the Panther. And even when I did all of that and filled the mid slot with nothing but Republic Fleet large cap batteries, and both my rigs were capacitor rigs, I was still not cap stable with one repper working. Like, no. That's not going to work. And I sat there for a moment thinking about this. Oh, this is awful. I'm never going to be able to get this to work. Then I thought, what if you could tank it without using capacitor? And that's where the shield idea came in. Yeah, we're passive tanking with shields here because we get that 100% bonus to shield extender hit points. It turns out Republic Fleet large shield extenders are absolutely crazy. Like, if I toggle one of these on or off, I'm sitting here on 98,724. If I toggle one of those off, it's 82, it's 65, it's 49, it's 33. Like, literally, I go from 33 to 98. I triple my shield with 4 large extenders. It's mad. And beyond this as well, because we're going passive shield, the passive shield recharge we get out of this is 359 HP a second. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. That was more than I could get the active tank to be. Now, we do have to sacrifice some DPS, which we can address in the fit. This is not the exact fit. You can modify this based on the different sites you're going to be running in C3 combat sites. So the standard stuff in here is a dual 650mm repeating cannon 2 brace along the top there. 5 of those I'm using duals for the better tracking because we need somewhat decent tracking in this. This is sufficient for our needs. You can play around with this. You could go down to the dual 420s or 450s or whatever they're called if you want additional tracking. You could possibly even play with some of the lows or mids, but we'll talk about those in a moment. The other 3 high slots, because we've only got 5 turret hardpoints, the other 3 high slots I've gone for heavy Vrykolakas energy Nosferatus. Again, any heavy energy Nosferatu would help here. This is just basically to take us into a position where we're technically cap stable without it, but with all 3 of those running, we go up to a nice 36 gigajoules per second of cap stability. And yes, you can drain from rats in PvE, you just can't mute them. Their capacitor never goes down, but absolutely you can refill your capacitor from rats in PvE. So, essentially, those are our high slots. You might decide to drop one of those Vrykolakas or heavy energy Nosferatus or whatever you've got there and consider putting in a standard cloaking device there, because if someone does appear on your D-scan, you can just cloak up and drift off to a major safe distance like 100, 200 kilometers away, then uncloak and warp off. Ultimately, that's one of the big advantages of the Panther. And if you have an MTU, sorry, not an MTU, a mobile depot, you can absolutely put probes in there as well, so you can scan things down and find an exit if things get really rough for you in a wormhole. It's all kinds of stuff. I mean, heck, you could even just kind of go, okay, We're going to have one Nosferatu just to help out with capacitor, and these other two are going to be a cloak, standard cloak, remember, not covert ops, and like a probe launcher just to help you find your exit if things go completely peak-tong. Now, the mid-slots, we've already talked about. It's 4 Republic Fleet large shield extenders in order to get just absolutely crazy amounts of EHP out of this, alongside a single multi-spectrum shield Hardener 2. We can swap another one of those large extenders for another multi-spectrum. Honestly, one does the job fine. All 6 of our low slots are shield power relay 2s, just to really push up that shield, that passive shield resistance. It's just crazy. I can't believe this works. I really can't believe this works. Followed by 2 large core defense field purges. 359 HP per second we get out of this. Now, the drones that I'm running in here, because we have 125 megabits per second, I'm running 5 ogres. I do usually carry a fleet of hammerheads in there as well. So Ogre 2s and Hammerhead 2s are what I usually carry in this. They give us a nice amount of DPS, 316 DPS out of those. Not bad at all. Alongside our cannons, obviously doing pretty hefty damage to our targets. Also, ultimately, this is passive. This is really surprisingly simple to fly. You just warp it into the site and shoot everything. What you do need to do is change your ammo types. Because you've got no propulsion and you are fairly slow when you're not cloaked, you're probably going to want to have barrage available to hit stuff that's a little bit further away. You're then going to want hail to absolutely wreck any medium or large targets that are within range, and then something like phased plasma, EMP, or fusion. Again, Republic Fleet version if you can, just helps to, take those down a little bit faster due to the fact that they don't have the tracking penalty that hail has, and they have slightly longer fall off too. If you really want to, carry the additional ammo that does have additional tracking on it. I forget what it's called off the top of my head. Is that titanium sabo? I can't remember. I don't use it often enough. Autocannons may be my main weaponry, but I don't use all the ammo types. But you may want to do that if you wish. Now, this fit runs all 4 of the C3 combat sites, and from my math, though I've not tested it, from my math, it should also run the unsecured and forgotten data and relic sites. Haven't tested those, but absolutely, you can run all 4 of the sites available in a C3 with this fit. If you wanted to mess around with it, if you are just focusing, say, on fortification frontier strongholds, you could probably drop 1 or 2 of these power relays. You do lose a little bit of HP per second, but that'll be enough to survive. Don't drop more than 2. Do not drop more than 2. And consider putting in like a gyro stabilizer and a tracking enhancer, maybe. You could also drop 1 out of the mid slots here. Again, don't go below. If you just wanted 1 tracking enhancer here, or you could go a gyro stabilizer here and then swap 1 of these for a grappler or a webifier, kind of up to you how you choose to do that. But this fit will do all 4 of those sites. I tested this in Fortification Frontier, tested it in Outpost Frontier Stronghold. It ran those absolutely no problems. And the fact that the Solar Cell and the Arus have nothing that would test this in different directions. Oh yeah, Arus neutralizes you. Who the heck cares? I'm not using anything. Like, if I knew out, oh no, I lose my multi-spectrum shield hardener for a little bit while fighting 4 awakened upholders that do pitiful DPS that doesn't break my tank, even with the multi-spectrum shield hardener off, because with that off, we're still 359 HP per second. We just lose a decent whack of EHP. Very straightforward to fly, very fun. Yes, okay, it's a bit expensive. There are much cheaper options for you out there. This isn't meant to be a viable fit, yo. This is meant to be something that is just crazy, fun, and is going to cause some people to just get, oh no, Benzie, what have you done? Literally, when I undocked a Panther and people are like, oh, you're going PvP? And I said, no, I'm trying it in C3. People are like, wait, what? What? Yeah. That's what I do. I do this ridiculously stupid stuff so that you don't have to. I will risk a 1.7 billion-isk battleship so that you don't have to. Anyway, all that said and done, let's actually showcase this. Prove it works, right? Because I couldn't believe it, and I wouldn't doubt you. I wouldn't blame you for doubting it either. So I'm going to showcase this first off in the Fortification Frontier Stronghold, just to kind of prove that this site is absolutely simple, it's straightforward, really ridiculously easy to use. You'll notice I don't actually have an MTU on me this time. Oops, forgot to do that. Did get a friend to warp in after and just drop an MTU and sort that out. But wave 1, 2 emergent defenders, 2 awakened defenders. You see I'm using the phased plasma ammo here because it's got decent enough tracking and solid damage with good fall off. It's my middle ground ammo, which means it's actually going to be really good against the frigates, especially since the frigates, obviously, they're hard to track. I therefore want to be using decent tracking, or at least some ammo with no tracking penalty, rather than hail or barrage, both of which have negative tracking penalties, so I don't want to be using those. It's mainly my ogres doing damage here rather than the duels, but again, they're killing things quickly and fast enough that we don't really worry too much about it. You can see how quickly that emergent defender's going down. Again, you might want a tracking enhancer in the low slots instead of one of those relays. You might swap one of the extenders out for a grappler, which will do really nicely against those emergent defenders. Because I just want to see how fast these go down as well, I swapped to the Awakened Defender second. Remember, it is the cruisers that are your secondary targets. You want to take out the frigates first. Theoretically, it's the cruisers that are the triggers. But you can see we're not having much difficulty here. These are going down very quickly. I'm getting 0 gigajoules drained at the moment because my capacitor is higher than my enemy's capacitor, by the way, just for those of you who still insist that no, you can't use Nosferatus on rats. Yes, you can. They're just draining at 0 at the moment because my capacitor is higher than my enemy's. But you'll see we're still able to hit these cruisers with our standard weaponry. We're getting some nice heavy hits and smashes on there. Look at that, 1,365, boom, blap, gone. Emergent Defender next up. The frigates take a little bit longer, but it is what it is, you know? Yeah, they're frigates. They take a while to destroy, but it's not like I'm taking any risk or damage at all right now. Like, look at my shields. This is passive. This is passive. I just literally move to a new target and slam F1 through F4 with 4 fingers in one go, or a little flat blade of my hand, or heck, you could use chopsticks for all it matters. Just hit those 4 buttons. And suddenly you are shooting and you've got your 3 Nosferatus on a target. I don't really need the Nosferatus, but it's so easy just to slam the buttons that you may as well. And it's satisfying with a nice mechanical keyboard. So yeah, that Emergent Defender's going down quickly. Then the Awakened Defender will come down seconds later. No big problem. I'm not descanning as much as I normally should. Again, I do have Catskull friends nearby who are watching things for me. At some point during the testing of this, we did have a buzzard come in, and I'm just sitting there like, yeah, okay, you're probably going to bring friends, but I'm in a Panther. I'm pretty scary, and I can probably move away from you quite quickly anyway, so I don't really care that much. But again, if you dropped 2 of the Nosferatus, at least one of the Nosferatus, you could have a cloak as well. So if you start to see something scary, you can just warp off and cloak up. Add a probe launcher in there instead of a second Nosferatu, and boom, you've got a completely viable solo wormholing ship if you really wanted to. And because it's a Panther, it's one of those ships that people don't tend to jump, because Panthers tend to be scary, right? Okay, not as scary in J-Space because the whole Black Ops Bridge thing just doesn't matter as much. But if you wanted to use this for ratting DED sites or something, you absolutely could. And people aren't likely to jump you because they're terrified that you're going to drop a Black Ops Bridge and bring a load of mates along with you. So you've actually got a lot of power there. Now I'm using phase plasma here to should be taking out the upholders first of all. You'll see that I start this and it's like, okay, the phase plasma's doing okay work, but 28 kilometers on the phase plasma's fall off. It's a little bit slow. I should probably be using barrage at this point. And I think in a moment, if I recall, I do swap to barrage. And that just gives us a bit more DPS against those further out targets. It's all about your ammo management. Using this ship, the only interesting thing you have to worry about is managing your ammo. You don't really have to worry about flying. You'll see I just picked a direction and started flying in it, and now I'm just shooting everything. I'm kind of flying towards where I know Wave 3 will spawn, because I want to be able to hit Wave 3 pretty hard, pretty fast. But I've just picked a direction, I'm flying in it, I've got the Multispectrum shield hardener active, and then you just nos and shoot everything you want to en route. Theoretically, if you know how your enemy's capacitor is, you could use your Nosferatu on different targets so that you're draining off certain targets whilst you're shooting others, and that's actually fewer button presses as well then, because you just Nosferatu one target, blap everything else, and you never have to swap targets with your Nos. But again, it's not exactly difficult to press F1, F2, F3, and F4 at the same time. So if I can do it, I'm pretty sure you guys can too. Now at this point, I am going to skip ahead in the video just a bit, just to showcase Wave 3. This is the wonderful thing about Eve. I have no idea how I'm actually hitting a ship through a station, but I am. Like, I'm shooting through whatever this sleeper structure is, and I'm hitting the upholder on the other side and destroying it. Wave 3 has spawned in. You can see I am nice and close to everything. That means when I've swapped down to... I think I'm actually still in barrage. I really should have swapped out of barrage at this point. But you can swap down to, say, phased plasma or even hail at this point and just start hammering these targets from very close range, getting good damage. Yeah, I'm definitely using barrage. I've just looked at the graphics on it and the fact that I'm just not getting particularly good hits on things. Yeah, penetrates. I'm getting good hits, but a 1235 smash is... That's barrage. That's not... yeah, that's not the rest. Cool. Let's actually have a look. I think I do swap again in a moment, but you'll see I've taken out the repairing one first of all, the preserver. Get rid of that out of the grid nice and quick. Then I'm going after the upholder because it newts and webs. Webs, not so much a problem, but the newt, yeah, theoretically, if I do newt out, my shield will keep recharging, but I'll lose the multispectrum shield hardener, which means I'm taking a bit more damage. There we are. It's around about the battleship time, I'm sure, that I do go, oh, yeah, I should probably swap out of barrage into a different ammo type, I think. It's around now. God, you're so embarrassing, Benzie. You're so embarrassing, old me. Using the wrong ammo against things. And, you know, putting it in a public video as well. Not only am I making mistakes, I'm not even trying to cover them up. I'm actually... Yeah, there we are, barrage L. Oops. Yeah, let's stop firing that and maybe swap to hail, because we're shooting at a battleship. But 25% reduced tracking, not a problem when our target's a battleship. So there we are. Should see a bit better damage coming out of this now. Yeah, that's much better. Much better. There we are. We can chunk through that sleepless upholder just a little bit better. Now, at this point as well, as I said, I've not dropped an MTU, therefore I haven't bookmarked it. But had you dropped an MTU at the start of the site and bookmarked it, once you reach the end of the site, as you're going up against like the last ship or so, you can start to align to whatever your exit point is. So whether that is a wormhole or a planet or something that you're going to warp to, you can start to align to that as you shoot the last target. Once you've killed it, scoop your drones, warp to that point, turn around and warp back to your bookmark, and you can just scoop that and get out nice and quick. Wonderful thing about Black Ops battleships is they're actually fairly nimble for a battleship, at least. Like, you know, they're not cruiser or anything, but you can warp out and warp back in surprisingly quickly, probably a lot faster than slow boating all the way to the MTU would be, but not probably, pretty much definitely. Anyway, folks, there you have it. Look at how easy that was, right? That ran that fortification frontier stronghold like nobody's business. I genuinely think that took, what, 8-9 minutes to do in total, maybe 10 at tops, which is faster than a lot of other battleships did. And yeah, I know, it's an expensive battleship, but it can do it. It can do it. It's a PvP battleship. Absolutely, it's a PvP battleship. But it can do it. And if you like the Panther, like I like the Panther, you can run it in wormhole PvE. Yeah? Yeah? How crazy is that? Anyway, with that all said and done, little bit of me just going crazy out of the way there. I can't believe it. I'm so excited that a Panther can actually run this kind of content. I love the Panther to pieces, so I'm glad that I can actually justify using it in certain scenarios. Yeah, why would I fly the Panther over, say, a Vagabond, which can do all of this for literally less than quarter of the price? Because sometimes I just like to do something stupid because it's fun. And on that note, happy sailing, folks, and see you in New Eden.